in 1 minute and 4 seconds, 65 yards. Helped out on a couple occasions by Miami penalties. Vinatieri just splits one down, and final seconds tick away, and that'll be it for the half. So Drew Bledsoe and Dan Marino hooked up in a tight duel, 14-all. We'll send you to our NFL and NBC studio in New York after a message from the NFL and a word from your local station. New England.
Well, one thing about this game, when you look at the two turnovers, they should mean something. But the two turnovers that Miami got didn't score a point off of, and that's what's bad.
And Abdul-Jabbar compared with Curtis Martin, who led the AFC in rushing last year. 9 for 9 yards for Martin, 2 touchdowns. Abdul-Jabbar chipping in with 71 yards rushing.
Well, Karim Abdul-Jabbar, Miami wants to run the football to help their defense out. New England, really, in all honesty, I don't think they care that much. They know they're going to live and die with the pass, and every once in a while if they have a good running game, so be it. That'll be a little icing on the cake, but they're going to live and die this season with throwing the football and winning some tough games at the end.
We talked to both coaches yesterday, and they both said the same thing. We are so evenly matched. This is going to come down to final possession. They both thought this would be a game won in the final minutes, and so it appears to be. We start the second half. Vinatieri, line drive, spikes, picks it up on the bounce. 15 to the 20, flag down as Spikes moves it to the 27-yard line, tackled by Wiggum. Now let's check the penalty. Well, these two coaches, there are a lot of twos in their life. They're tied today, and a lot of twos. They both have 2 Super Bowl championships. Both have 2.
Holding number 51 on the return, 10 yards, first down.
Both have 2 opportunities as head coaches in the NFL. But what's really important, what really makes them what they are today, 2 years working for the network. That's what.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
That's what got them back into coaching.
Will they work with you?
Oh, no.
No, they didn't work with you?
Oh, Miami with a 10-yard penalty on the return starts at the 17. Abdul-Jabbar wrapped up. Willie Clay from his safety spot. Jim Gray, what do you have for us?
Well, I spoke with both coaches, Dick. First, Bill Parcells said the second quarter was the worst quarter we have played all year. He said he told his guys we're very lucky to survive it, and hopefully we'll be able to come out with a victory. Now, as for Jimmy Johnson, he said the radio communications really hampered them, as well as the injury to his running back in the first half, because he said that was the guy that we used to communicate the plays, and with our communications out, we really struggled there, and it hurt us at the end of the half. Dick?
Thank you, Jim. Referring to Charis McPhail, who broke his arm and is out for the year. Dropped by Abdul-Jabbar, perhaps guilty of the run before the catch was secured.
One of the things that surprised me in that first half, Phil, is Miami. We thought, talking to Jimmy Johnson, their defense would be aggressive, an aggressive defense. They are not. They have not played aggressively. And we're talking about in the secondary, folks.
That's right.
The 2 corners and safeties.
I saw one blitz in the first drive that they caught New England off guard. But besides that, I've seen all what we've seen from Miami all year long, a defense that's sitting back, just trying not to give up the big play.
Well, you know, that guy wearing 13 will play aggressively. 3rd and 8. Guns it to the sideline, but it's one hopped incomplete. Lamar Thomas is going to argue, but it appeared to bounce in. Jimmy Hitchcock covering for New England. So the punting team on, and John Kidd to kick it for the Dolphins. So a quick 3 and out for Jimmy Johnson's Miami team. The wind still blowing into the face of the kicker Kidd, but not with nearly the velocity of earlier today. Meggett stands at his own 40. Good kick. Meggett retreats to the 31. And returns out across the 45-yard line. 15 on the return. A 50-yard punt. Patriot cheerleaders well muffled as you look at the quarterback comparison. Bledsoe solid 15 for 20 in that first half. Misses on his first attempt for Terry Glenn. It is indeed 50 degrees cooler today than it was almost 2 months ago to the day when they played in Miami. Hurry up offense. He's got 4 wide receivers out there with Meggett. It worked at the end of the so Parcells comes out with it to start the second half. Throw to the sidelines, complete. And it's Hassan Graham with his first catch today. J.B. Brown on the coverage. Right at the sticks. First down.
Well, they had success with it at the end of the first half, so now why not stay with it? And what it did at the end of the first half, it made Miami play very soft and vanilla-type defense.
Bledsoe hit, he fumbles, and it's recovered by the Dolphins at the 47-yard line. Fans claiming that Bledsoe had his arm forward. Daryl Gardner recovers the ball, but it was Daniel Stubbs who'll get the forced fumble and his 8th sack of the year. Stubbs with the 3rd Miami turnover today.
Well, it was actually good protection by the New England line, but Drew Bledsoe cannot find somebody open down the field, has to hold on to it just a fraction longer, and that is a fumble. His arm was not going forward. Good call by the officials.
Well, you can see his arm is going forward after he's hit. Right here he's hit, and then he moves his arm forward. That ball came out. That's an excellent call.
Bruce Armstrong not beaten very often, but Stubbs got him. Moreno starts at the 46. Watch! Guns it to the sidelines. Intercepted by Hitchcock. Flag is down. Hitchcock to the 45. Picks up blockers. And to the 35-yard line. But was there interference? The flag is back at the spot where Hitchcock picked it off. 42-yard return if. It's coming back.
You know, this is twice now on Hitchcock. Once it was a holding penalty.
Pass interference. Number 41, defense. First down.
I don't think it's 41. Because 41 is Keith Byers, and he's on the offense. So I think it's 31. And Hitchcock, again, they have pass interference on him.
Watch Jimmy Hitchcock, number 31, against Randall Hill, and he sticks that left arm out, and that has to be what the referee saw.
Well, they don't call that very often, though. They've been letting that go all year long.
Sometimes if you stick that left arm out, they think you are getting in the way of the receiver, stopping his progress, and they will call that a pass interference.
See, everybody has a right to the ball once the ball is in the air. But what happened with Hitchcock did is when he put that arm in there, he pushed off. And as he pushed off, the defender goes down. I think the receiver sold it very well.
22-yard penalty plus the 44 yards that New England didn't get on the return. There's a big play in this game. Abdul-Jabbar on first down. And a little scuffle after the play, and flags fly. Dale Hamer's hat as well.
Troy Drayton, the tight end.
Such an important game, and from the start the hitting has been at the highest level, and the emotions, of course, carrying the ferocity of play.
See Marino in there trying to sell it?
Yeah, everybody's in it. They're all lawyers.
Personal foul. Number 84 in the offense. Continuing action.
They ticket Troy Drayton, the tight end.
Here's Troy Drayton right up in here. He gets hit by Jones, and then he retaliates, and the only thing the officials see is retaliation. And what it normally is that way.
Second man in. That's a big penalty to absorb for Miami as Drayton is pulled out by Johnson, and Brett Kerlin replaces him at tight end. They mark the penalty back out to the 36-yard line.
Well, this is the 3rd turnover the Miami Dolphins have gotten today, and they really haven't taken advantage of them. And Paul, you say it so many times, you talk about you only get so many chances in a football game, and I think Jimmy Johnson realizes they've got to take advantage of this.
The play stands, the run stands, although they haven't changed the down box. As after the play, the penalty. You know, just to underline, if you're a New England fan, you'd be nervous about that turnover. Whenever recently Bill Parcells' team, they've given it away more than they've taken it away. They're 0-10. They're 7-1 when they're in the plus column, taking it away more than coughing it up.
See, I think that's what Bill Parcells is complaining about now. He wants it to be second down because this actually occurred after the play.
So the Patriots are -3 today. And yet it, to this point, has not cost them the 3 turnovers. 21-yard penalty is what it amounts to. And first down, Marino. Underneath, complete. Pritchett, the fullback, inside the 25-yard line. Perfect throw on the run. Hits his fullback. Collins and Malloy make the stop. 12 on the play.
But when you say it's unfair to have a linebacker on a back, it's Pritchett and Collins. So watch Pritchett. He just delays, comes underneath. Now Collins has to run with him. And Marino just hits Pritchett right away on the play. I mean, it's just a nice, easy pickup.
Dan Marino immediately sees it's man-to-man coverage, and Pritchett too fast for Collins, and that's the one thing Dan Marino does better than anybody. Make a quick decision, throw the football.
2nd and 9. Stacked up. Willie McGinnis was first there, number 55, who's had a big season for the Patriots defensively with 5 sacks and, of course, an interception touchdown against Buffalo last week. A reminder, next week here on NBC, here's our lineup beginning at 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Most of you will see the Patriots against the Jets. Other AFC East showdown, Dolphins hosting Harbaugh and the Colts. Some of you will get the Bills battle with the Eagles or regional action. It all starts 12 noon next Sunday here on NBC. 3rd down. Incomplete. It appeared Miami's Randall Hill had a touchdown, but Jimmy Hitchcock denied. Got a hand in, ripped it away.
An excellent job by Jimmy Hitchcock, number 31 of the New England Patriots. Dan Marino again sees the man coverage outside. Randall Hill looks at the top of your screen. He tries to throw the ball in the line before the defender turns around, but Jimmy Hitchcock, he knows Marino will do that. Got his hands up at the last second to deflect the ball.
It deflects the ball, but look at the ball hits Hill right in the shoulder pads. And that's what Marino looked at him about, catch the ball. I'm going to hit you with it. But that was a hard catch.
39-yard field goal attempt. Nedney. And this time he knocks it in. Oh, the Dolphins take advantage of the turnover. Enjoy a 3-point lead. Now Daniel Stubbs' sack and forced fumble against Bledsoe leads to the 39-yard field goal, and Jim Gray with a special friend.
Well, a very special friend and a guy that all of professional football is missing right now. Don Shula here to watch his former team. Don, how much do you miss being on the sidelines, particularly a close game like this one?
Well, this is what it's all about. I've been here for 33 years as a head coach, so you don't walk away from something like this without missing it. I didn't miss training camp, and I didn't miss some of the other things, the preseason. But once the regular season starts, that's where you miss the competition more than anything else.
All right, Dick's going to give us the kickoff, and we're going to get your assessment of the Dolphins. We'll be right back with you, Don. Dick?
Nedney kicks it off. 17-14 Miami. At the 12. Fighting for that extra yard across the 35.
So far, Don, of how the Dolphins have done this year. They're 4-4.
Well, they started out obviously great, and they had a running game, and then they seemed to get away from that. And today, they're back to the running game. They're controlling the line of scrimmage, and they've got the takeovers. That's what helped them win the games early in the year. You got to get the takeaways, and you got to control the line of scrimmage, and you see them doing that here today.
Everybody has been very careful not to use the word retirement with you. There's already been a couple of coaches, including your son, who've lost his job. As we watch the play, we're going to ask you about your future. What about your future? Will you coach again, and will you consider some offers this offseason?
Well, I haven't even thought about it. I'm at peace with myself over the decision that I made, and I'm trying to enjoy this season. And there are times where I enjoy it, and other times I miss it. But I haven't made any judgments as to what I want to do, and I'm going to get through this year and then see what happens.
How much input, if any, do you have? You were reluctant at first to be involved with the Dolphins at all. You have spoken with Jimmy on a number of occasions. How much input do you have now with the Dolphins?
I'm vice chairman of the board of directors and a part owner, but I don't do anything as far as day-to-day involvement with the Dolphins. Certainly, I'd like to see them have a good year, get into the playoffs and win. I'd love to see Dan Marino wear that Super Bowl ring. That's what
you got yours on.
I got mine on, and I'd love to see Dan get one, because if anybody deserves it, the way that he's competed through the years and the records that he's set, you know, that's what you hope for.
Don, it's great to see you. You were honored before the game. Congratulations. Enjoy this time off, since we won't call it a retirement.
Thank you.
Back over to you, Dick.
Thanks, Jim, and all the best to Don Shula. Bob Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, making a special presentation to Don Shula and thanking him for his great years in this great game. We have a timeout. We'll return to Foxborough in a moment. Welcome back. On that last play, watch Bledsoe. Is this a forward pass or a lateral?
Well, this ball is going to land behind Bledsoe, but the officials say that it was not a lateral. Meggett did the smart thing. He picked that thing up off the ground. He knew that was behind.
That would have been an 8-yard gain and a first down. Instead, it's 3rd and 1. Play action. Bledsoe down the middle. Intercepted. Sean Wooden. And Wooden has the 4th turnover of the game. Miami at the New England 36.
Now, there was some aggressive defense.
Well, yes, it was an aggressive throw called by Drew Bledsoe, and Sean Wooden playing free safety, nobody to cover, sees Terry Glenn coming across the field. Watch Sean Wooden, sees the ball coming. He does an excellent job, though, coming forward, being aggressive, attacking the football once it's in the air. But Drew Bledsoe falling away from the line of scrimmage, thrown across his body. That's a tough throw to try to make in the NFL.
Wooden, the rookie from Notre Dame, his 2nd interception of the year, leading 17-14. Less than 11 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's Abdul-Jabbar, rookie in this Jimmy Johnson team, and he fumbles. Does it count? No signal yet by the officials. What a weird game. Maybe it's a hangover from Halloween. We've had balls bouncing the entire game, and calls, difficult calls to make.
Well, let's start way back at the beginning of the 1st quarter when Meggett fumbled the ball going into the end zone. They give it to him. They said he hit the pylon. It was out of bounds. Then a fumble on a touchdown by Curtis Martin. It ends up New England yard line. It's incredible what's happening.
Took a while to decide, but the officials agree it's New England's ball. Abdul-Jabbar, he thought he was down. Let's see. Oh, he was clearly
down. He's down.
Clearly down.
I mean, this game may be another strong bid for instant replay, because Karim Abdul-Jabbar is on the ground right here. Now, you see the ball in his arm. Now, he has it clearly. The ball comes out. This is a terrible call.
But all the officials must have been screamed. No one saw it. And Jimmy Johnson, we're going to have to put a straitjacket on him.
Well, you see, what happened is Jimmy Johnson sees the replay in here.
Yes.
He sees the replay in the stadium, and that's what he's upset about.
Well, he has had a couple tough calls go against his team the last few weeks, so it keeps building up in the coach, and they keep seeing these mistakes by referees, and that's why you get that reaction.
So a questionable call, and Patriots take over their 28. Bledsoe guns it. Complete again to Terry Glenn. Glenn continues to rack up the numbers. 13 more yards for the rookie on his 8th catch of the game.
Well, the ground cannot cause a fumble, and you can clearly see Abdul-Jabbar has the ball when he hits the ground. But the problem is, look at all the officials. There's so many bodies around, nobody can tell if the ball when it came out.
I tell you, you're looking at it this year. There's so many plays that can be used as far as instant replay coming back again in some form.
It's not a perfect world, and this certainly has been a game not called very perfectly. Good play action again by Bledsoe. He guns it. It's Sean Jefferson, and a flag down as Jefferson out of bounds at the 29.
They're going to call this offensive pass interference on Sean Jefferson because he pushed off in order to come back.
He sure was open.
Yeah,
That'll help.
You know, you can open. This really helps, Dick. When you shove the guy down the field and then you come back to the ball.
But I tell you, he had no reason to push off. He had Calvin Jackson running down the field.
Interference. Offense, number 84, 10 yards, still first down.
The Patriots basically were sending Sean Jefferson out against Calvin Jackson one-on-one and no other receivers down the field. He sells the long pattern, and he uses both hands to push off.
I mean, Calvin Jackson, you're right. He was gone anyway.
He was looking for the deep ball. When the quarterback holds the ball that long, Usually that defensive back knows, look long, he's trying to throw it on us.
That's a 40-yard play, 10 on the penalty and 30 that they didn't get on the catch. Screen. Curtis Martin, 35. Into the clear, 40, 50. Curtis Martin to the 27-yard line.
Outstanding screen pass, and Curtis Martin cuts it back inside. You know that Calvin Jackson saves a touchdown. Sam Gash is blocking on him way downfield, but he makes Curtis Martin make a move. Here it comes right here. See this here? There's Jackson with Sam Gash, and he actually makes the play.
Good hustle by Daniel Stubbs as well, the big lineman, to get downfield. 42-yard play. Mega inside the 25. Miami leads 17-14. The Patriots trying to take advantage of a highly questionable fumble call against this man, Abdul-Jabbar. Have it inside the Dolphin 25 at the 23, second down and 5.
Well, it turned the ball over 4 times today so far. We still have 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. You're down 17-14. You're lucky.
But they only got 3 points out of 4 turnovers, the Miami Dolphins.
Second and 5. Erickson again. Bledsoe. Wide open is Ben Coates. Touchdown. Big Ben rings it up for the 5th time this year, and New England repossesses the lead.
Boy, when you have that much time to throw a football, you better be able to find somebody open.
And Jimmy Johnson still burning inside on the call that set up the drive. Vinatieri. 21-17 New England. 23 yards on the touchdown.
Well, it's a good job of the Patriot. An excellent call. Drew Bledsoe moving to his right, throws back across the field to Ben Coates, who is wide open. He hustles for the extra couple yards and gets the touchdown.
Bledsoe 3 for 3 on the drive, 77 yards. The old Parcells Patriots enjoy a 4-point advantage. New England leads 21-17 with 1 questionable turnover for New England, and they get 7 points out of it, while New England's coughed it up 4 times and managed only 3 Miami points out of that. So the Patriots opportunistic, 77 yards and 4 quick plays for the lead. Irving spikes. Check that. Charles Jordan. And Jordan draws a crowd of blue out at the 27-yard line. Mario Greer leading the way. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, look at Ben Coates at the top of your screen. He's going to run what they call a flag pattern, a play action this way. But watch Lewis Oliver, number 25, his reaction. Most teams, when they fake this bootleg, they throw to the right. The Patriots do the opposite. They throw across the field, back to the left. That's the reason Ben Coates was wide open.
Watch this, folks. You think Bledsoe liked this little slap on a hiney? Whoops. No, that hurt.
Marino comes back gunning, and it's incomplete to Abdul-Jabbar. Sungapulatelli, the defensive tackle, the 300-pounder from San Diego State, has Marino wincing.
You're for a defensive lineman playing against the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino. It has to be so frustrating. You get through, you do an excellent job, you get a free shot at the quarterback, and Dan Marino always gets rid of the football.
Hate to get on the officials, but he took more than 1 step before he hit Marino. They've had a tough day. Abdul-Jabbar out of the backfield. Nice open field tackle by Ted Johnson, the middle backer. Only 4 on the play. Johnson, Carlsbad, California. Grew up, went to high school very near where they had all those tragic fires just a week ago near La Costa.
The only real chance that a linebacker has on a back like Abdul-Jabbar is Johnson, because as soon as he saw Abdul-Jabbar coming out of the backfield, he went directly towards him, and that's his man. He went after him and got him.
3rd and 6. Miami 3 for 9 on 3rd down today. Well below their average. To the sidelines, incomplete, intended for Charles Jordan. Scooter Magruder, next to the defensive back on the coverage. Punting team on for Jimmy Johnson.
This is not what you talk about at halftime. The Miami Dolphins, they go in, they know they're going to get the ball back on the kick. They come out 3 and out. They get the ball again, 3 and out.
Dave Meggett just 2 away from the all-time record of 8 touchdowns on punt returns. Beautiful kick by Kidd to the 16. And Meggett doesn't get more than a couple of yards. Timeout, 7:04 remaining in the 3rd. Back in New England with a reminder next Saturday at 4 Eastern on NBC. It's the EMC Skills Challenge. You'll see Arnold Palmer, the Player of the Year, the Barton Trophy winner Tom Lehman, John Daly, Hale Irwin, and others. They'll drive, long and short game, bunker shots, putting, and the crucial trouble shot. That's next Saturday on NBC. Dave Meggett for a couple to the 19-yard line. They call that one, Phil. They call that one area the McGuire's, the Palmer, the trouble shot.
The trouble shot?
The McGuire, they call that.
I don't have trouble. I mean, my swing isn't pretty, but it gets the job done.
Really?
Yeah, gets it done.
2nd and 8 into the flat. Complete to Troy Brown, and Tim Jacobs there on the coverage at the 26. It'll be 3rd and 2. Look at what the defense of Miami has allowed the opposing quarterback the last 3 games.
And anytime quarterbacks complete this high a percentage of their pass, I don't care if they're throwing little dump passes, your defense is in trouble. And 3 straight games, the Miami defense just cannot stop the passing game.
3rd and a long one. Curtis Martin cut down at the 27 and a half by Terrell Buckley, who raced up from his corner position, and it's going to be close enough to measure. Buckley with his 6th interception of the season earlier today. Oh, they gave him a good spot.
Well, it was really a good job by Curtis Martin taking the ball outside. Everything was covered inside, and Terrell Buckley just came flying up to make a good tackle.
Now, my question here is, here's a 1st down, and you're only up by 4 points, and they were moving the ball with a hurry-up offense. They no huddle. They were attacking. Do you stop attacking now? And you kind of, when do you just say, okay, let's just try to run the ball a little bit. Let's get some stuff off the clock, because this 3rd quarter has lasted about an hour and a half, hasn't it?
Ray Perkins making the calls upstairs. Play action. Bledsoe. The incomplete, intended for Sean Jefferson. Well covered by Calvin Jackson. Dangerous pass over there. Jackson looking for the pick.
Well, Miami knows they can't stop the passing game, and they haven't. So what do, Paul? They bring some pressure. This time they bring 6 players on defense. Make the quarterback make a decision. Tight coverage down the field. Drew Bledsoe has to throw the football before he's ready. And Calvin Jackson did an excellent job of staying close to the receiver.
5 minutes, 47 seconds left in the 3rd. To Jefferson, and he is in at the 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd down 3. Jackson leading the charge with Wooden helping out. Bledsoe taking what they'll give him, and he's now 22 for 31, just under 300 yards on the game. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he also fumbled once while Marino looking for that first scoring throw.
And if you go to throw the football a lot, you can't be concerned with those interceptions. And Bill Parcells told us yesterday, he told Drew Bledsoe, I want you to be tenacious, throw the ball down the field, and take some chances.
Quick throw, no result at all as Gash is drilled by Oliver. Lewis Oliver read it all away, no gain.
This is what I thought they meant about an aggressive pass defense. What Lewis Oliver does here to Sam Gash. Lewis Oliver comes up the field. They just throws this little flick to the outside, and look at here, bam. I mean, there was absolutely about a half-yard loss on the play.
So Tom Tupa comes in to punt. Former Penn State star O.J. McDuffie at the other end at the 16. Smith makes the tackle at the 20, a 54-yard punt. Tonight on Dateline, we invite you to stay tuned after the game. Peril in the Pacific. A dying man calls out for help. Only the Navy SEALs can save his life. It's an incredible life and death rescue on the high seas. Watch Dateline NBC tonight after the game on NBC. Trailing 21-17. 4 minutes plus left in the third. Abdul-Jabbar for a couple. Mark Wheeler led the defensive attack.
Well, the Miami Dolphins, when you have possessions in the second half, you take a look what they've done with it. Take a look, 3 plays, and here's the ones that you really want to take a look at in the middle. The 3 plays, 5 plays, 1 play in a fumble, and 3 plays again, you punt the ball away. I mean, your offense isn't doing anything. You've got to keep this defense off the field. That's the one thing that Marino said to us. We've got to help the defense. We've got to move the ball and control it.
That fumble came 1 play after Sean Woodson had intercepted at the New England 36. Into the flat. Only 3 more on the catch as Malloy and Hitchcock wrap up Pritchett. 3rd down and short 6.
You know, the only time you really mention this guy's name in this game, one of their leading receivers, O.J. McDuffie. I mean, on punt returns. Has he caught a pass?
1 catch for 6 yards. McDuffie is their 3rd down receiver. Time has McDuffie open, and he has it at the 40-yard line. First down, Miami.
Well, boys, see, you got to get the guy in the game. I called down to Dan. I said, look, you know, O.J. McDuffie has been open. You haven't thrown the ball to him. So let's put him in motion, send him out to the outside. He runs down through the seam, and a perfect pass. And again.
Well, you are sagacious. No question about that.
Yeah.
Sagacious?
Yeah. What is it?
I don't know.
41-yard line.
Seriously, what?
The wizard. You're wise. Your years make you very wise, Paul.
Overestimates his arm. What he tries to do again is throw that ball in a line drive to the outside and tries to get it over to the defender before he turns around. But Jimmy Hitchcock, he's looking back at the quarterback the whole way. He is not fooled and makes an excellent interception.
You know what I really like about this play is Willie Clay. He reads it right away. He's looking back at Marino. He gets over to even try to help. He doesn't have to because Hitchcock got it. But on the left-hand side of the screen, you see Willie Clay coming in. He was there to help out if need be.
So Hitchcock with his 2nd interception of the season. And Hill stops him at the 10-yard line. So Marino intercepted for the first time today. It remains 21-17 New England. Hit in the backfield as Curtis Martin, Dwight Collier, a loss of a yard. Dan Marino never likes this to happen.
Well, I think he knows it's not really the decision. He made a good decision on where to throw football, just what type of ball to throw. Should have thrown it higher and to the outside instead of throwing the line drive.
And the win, Jim Gray talked about it at the start of the game. That factored in. Held the ball up. Bledsoe out. Quickie to Sean Jefferson. Buckley on the coverage. 6 yards on the play. To the 15. It's 3rd and 5. Second half, and this is third quarter. All these possessions. I mean, 9 possessions in the quarter. We have 1:18 left. 2 turnovers aside.
And I really do believe a lot of these turnovers today, the interceptions, especially the fumbles, are just because the fact that it is cold, the ball is hard and slick, and it's just getting away from the players.
3rd and 5. Bledsoe pressured, incomplete. Through to Gash, and Stewart there to cover. Michael Stewart.
Nash, have they gotten away from the game plan? I mean, before he was throwing the ball like curls in the middle of the field. He was throwing deep comebacks to players. Now he's throwing little junk stuff.
Well, what's happening, Paul, the last couple times, New England is guessing wrong. Miami's defense has changed up. That time they had 3 defensive linemen down, 4 linebackers in. They blitzed off of it, and I think it's confusing New England right now.
Tupa will receive the snap at the goal line. McDuffie at the 37 of Miami. No snap. Tupa, short kick, and I think that's McDuffie at the 41-yard line. 44 on the punt.
Well, there's a turnover that didn't hurt Marino. In fact, they get the ball back in very, very good field position.
And we didn't. It's interesting that we haven't really talked about Marino's injury. Here's a man that had a broken ankle just 5-6 weeks ago, and here operating as if, well, obviously didn't catch our attention. He is well protected.
Well, he is. Yeah, he is very well protected. That body has every piece of equipment on that the league makes. And look at his. We had a little shot there. We'll see it later of his right foot. The special shoe he wears now to protect that right ankle and Achilles tendon.
Abdul-Jabbar nothing inside, so he makes something outside. Gain of 4.
You know, you're absolutely right, Phil. If you just take a look, I don't understand how he moves with all the padding he has.
I tell you, he can move around still very well, but you can see he has the hip pads in. He has a little pad in the back because last year he hurt his, well, he fell on his rear end and he hurt it pretty bad. He has 2 braces on, 1 brace on each knee, and then on the right ankle, look at that big boot he has on, and still has a little bit of a limp, but Dan Marino, he's wise. He wears everything he can to protect himself.
And he's got nothing on that right arm.
That's right.
That's free, and he comes that incomplete to Abdul-Jabbar. Will bring up 3rd down and 7.
Beginning of this game, he still had that pouch on. He had a pouch, or a hand warmer, that they call it, on Marino. He doesn't wear that. I thought maybe he might have had a sandwich or something in there because he spends a lot of time back there by himself.
Oh,
you advised him. That's what you do.
No, he wouldn't keep a sandwich in there.
That'd be gone. That would be gone.
Ty Law limped off, and Mike Magruder, number 27, replaces him at corner. So Marino looks at 2 backup corners in Hitchcock and Magruder. Ooh, not much time. Find the throw, and incomplete. Randall Hill. Covered by Otis Smith, the former Eagle.
You know, there's something that surprised me about this. Now, Dan Marino standing back there all by himself, really has all the time in the world to throw the ball. And look at these guys. They're really not coming back to him. Hill is the only one that makes an attempt to come back, but it's only a couple yards when he sees the ball in the air. But it was surprising to me because most of these receivers, I know you're able to turn and run, Phil, but they should come back and help Marino.
Well, let's be honest. How often do they see Dan Marino scramble out of the pocket and they don't get a chance to practice that drill too often?
Final play of the 3rd quarter. Kidd, a bit unlucky, has to kick it into the wind. Negative to 21. A 5-yard return. You're watching the NFL on NBC. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. With Phil Simms, Paul McGuire, and Jim Gray Dickenberg. Welcome back to Foxborough. Some 59,000 plus have watched a terrific game. 21-17 New England. As Jimmy Johnson said, this will define our season. We need 2 wins this week, next week against Indy to show we'll be a playoff team. And New England trying to create some distance. Indianapolis has already lost. Bledsoe spread it around. Sam Gash is interfered with. Chris Singleton there too soon.
Pass interference. Number 55 of the defense. First down.
Chris Singleton, he's really got caught in a catch-22. Here he is. So here comes the ball. And when the ball is thrown, he is there just a little bit too soon. Look at, he's going through the receiver, which is Gash, to the ball. and he hits him. Good call.
Just a penalty of a handful of yards out to the 27. Bledsoe, another one underneath. Complete. Boy, does he have accelerators. Terry Glenn, just a little delay, and he sprints for 14 more before Sean Wooden can get him. And Drew Bledsoe has used 9 different receivers in this game. He spread it around very effectively. Brown, Glenn, now Martin. And here's the payoff. His touchdown to Ben Coates.
That's the key to this offense, the fact that in years past it was drop back and throw it to Ben Coates. Now Drew Bledsoe can drop back and throw it to 1 of 7 or 8 good pass receivers.
Curtis Martin slowed down in the backfield and loses a yard. Interestingly, and when you look at the skill positions for New England with Byers and Coates now and those wide receivers, Jefferson and Glenn, and then the running backs as well, and Bledsoe, you'd say this should be the best offense in the AFC East, but someone argues that it is not, and that was Bill Parcells.
Well, he thinks the New York Jets are the best offense in the AFC East, and he says, don't even take my word for it, just look it up. Yards, he's talking first downs, a lot of stats favor the New York Jets, but my argument is the New York Jets are doing a lot of that when they're way behind and the games are over. They're getting some of those stats.
But I think that the New York Jets are going to decide who wins the AFC East because they're going to beat someone going down the second half of the season.
Well, that's right. And the one thing he was right about, Bill Parcells, is the New York Jets do have some fine, skilled players on offense. So there's going to be a day when their defense puts it together. They come out there and then offense clicks, and you hope you're not the team that's on the bad end of it.
10 catches today. This one aimed at Dave Meggett, incomplete.
The one thing about this Miami team, when you look at it, they are, coming into this game 4-4, Phil, but they've only lost 1 game in their division, and that's to Indianapolis. So if they can come out of here, that's why this game is so important to Miami, and next week against Indy, which have knocked them off, they get even with Indy, but they could be really set in their division if they can win the next 2 games, this one and the one after.
You heard Marino on the NFL on NBC earlier today say that these are the 2 games that will determine whether or not we're a factor or whether we just play out the season. 21-17 New England. Chupa. Skies one. Into the frosty night, and the fair catch by McDuffie at the 17. 44 on the punt. 13 plus remain.
On NBC is brought to you by Plymouth. One clever idea after another. That's Plymouth. By Zantac 75, the final word in acid relief. By Staples, the office superstore. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
And we welcome you back, Dan Marino. This is his 192nd game as a Dolphin. That's the club record. Bob Kuchenberg played 190. He needs that many more. 162 passing yards for 50,000. No one close. Trailing by 4. It's Abdul-Jabbar turning the corner. Gets him up. Oh, he was 1 man away from going the distance. Out of bounds at the 23. A gain of 11.
You know what I like about him, Phil? The decisions he makes with the ball. I mean, he gets some good blocking up front, but watch the decisions he makes. Here he comes to the outside. Now watch how quick he turns this. Now, I've got to get upfield and take what I can get. You're right, Dick. One play away from touchdown.
He had 115 yards in game 1 down in Miami against New England, over the century mark again. First down to the 25. So we are seeing two outstanding rookies in this game. Karim Abdul-Jabbar rushing for over 100 for Miami, and on the other side, the wide receiver for the New England Patriots, Terry Glenn, who has 10 catches. He's over 100 yards receiving.
Well, Abdul-Jabbar, what I like about him, and he reminds me of Emmitt Smith in a way. He makes a decision, he does it right away, and he's always going forward, never east to west. He is a north-south runner.
2nd and 8. Marino guns it to the sideline. Catch. Rolling is Charles Jordan to the sidelines. First down at the 35. Mike Magruder on the coverage.
Well, Dan Marino on his way to throwing for 50,000 yards and still has that good arm. The hardest throw a quarterback can make is that 10-yard speed outcut by a receiver. And look at the hop, and Dan Marino gets that body behind almost every single throw. That's the reason why he's so accurate.
The man with the perfect pass. He hits that line of scrimmage at full speed. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York for an update.
All right, Dick, in Seattle, Houston and the Seahawks tied at 9. Steve McNair sideline pass to Chris Sanders. Watch what he does to Selwyn Jones on the sidelines. Can't let him get away like that. See you later. 65-yard touchdown, and with the extra point, Houston on top of Seattle now. 16-9, about 8 minutes to play in regulation. Dick?
All right, Greg, can you imagine 2 years ago at Ohio State they had Sanders, Galloway, and this kid Glenn?
And they lost some games.
Underneath. Good catch by Irving Spikes, and Spikes runs it into New England territory to the 45, a 19-yard play.
Well, you know, we talk about Bledsoe spreading the ball around. Marino can spread it around. Look, he got Spikes in the backfield. Nobody comes up, so Spikes is free. Everybody's covered. He just dumps it over the middle. Now Spikes just takes off.
And Dan Marino makes his decision so fast. We talk about why he's so hard to sack. And look at this. Look at the sacks by the other quarterbacks. Bernie and Craig Erickson, 11 and 6. Coming in today, Dan Marino has sacked 3 times all year.
Spikes caught in the backfield. Willie McGinnis there to stop him, with Todd Collins following up.
And one of the, a couple of reasons why you cannot sack Dan Marino. One, he makes a decision so fast. He gets rid of it so fast. But we heard Richmond Webb talking about it to us yesterday. He just has great presence in the pocket. He always knows when to step up, to buy himself that extra half second, which enables him to get the ball down the field.
Less than 10 minutes to go. 21-17 New England. Second and a dozen. Thomas, and that's close to a first down at the Patriots 35.
Phil, they sold the ranch on this play. New England sent everybody.
They sent everybody, but Miami was not confused. They pick up the blitz, and watch how fast Dan Marino gets rid of the football. 2 seconds, the ball is gone. Look at the safeties for the New England Patriots. The blitz all out. Jimmy Hitchcock, if he does not make the tackle up the top, it's a touchdown.
Third and less than a yard. 2 men in motion, so that'll cost Miami a first down. Abdul-Jabbar easily with the first down. Ted Johnson made the tackle, but 2 Dolphins in motion.
But they tried to reset. I thought maybe the referee or the official would give them the benefit of the doubt. It looked like they reset, but maybe it wasn't for 1 full count.
Robert Wilson is the guy, number 49, that gets moving, and then he gets moving forward.
Wilson, 49, comes out, used in short yardage. 255-pound fullback.
There's two guys moving at the same time. The wide receiver, watch Robert Wilson, the fullback. They're both moving, but then watch them reset. They know they made a mistake. They reset.
Apparently, the referee judging not a full second. 3 of 11 on third down is Marino. Incomplete. Good coverage again by the Patriots. They went to Jordan, and Otis Smith picked up as a free agent. Makes the play.
I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely correct, Dick. There wasn't one man open. Marino tries to force this ball in, this perfect pass inside. He tries to force it inside. It just doesn't work. That's Otis Smith. And here's Marino right from the get-go. He's looking.
But as he told us yesterday, if you're going to be a player in this league, you got to throw passes when your men are covered.
And again, he threw an incomplete pass, and he was looking and talking to his receiver.
Lets it go, and it is saved by the Dolphins. A good play made by Terrell Buckley. He batted it back, and Robert Bailey covers. It'll be the 2-yard line for Bledsoe when we return.
On that last incompletion, Dan Marino wanted Charles Jordan to keep coming. Look at him. Charles Jordan says, my fault. Yes, my fault.
Flags all over the field as Bledsoe throws from his own end zone. Intended for Ben Coates. Collier on the coverage. That is that scene with the
that was good. Well, we didn't get to see it. Charles Jordan he pats himself on the chest.
Offside on the offense. Lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Watch Charles Jordan, number 88. He goes, oh, yeah, my fault, Dan.
See, I'm telling you about Marino. Marino is so positive. He said to Jordan, it's positively your fault. Jordan said, you're positively right. It wasn't my fault.
Jordan goes, he's throwing for almost 50,000. I think I'll let him tell me what's right and wrong.
And if I argue with him, he's not going to throw me the ball anymore.
Good point.
The general is always right. 2nd and 10 as the Patriots decline the penalty. From his end zone again, Bledsoe. Miami comes up with the ball, but the official says the play was dead. 13-yard gain. Louis Oliver and Chris Singleton. Singleton came out of there with the ball.
Drew Bledsoe from their own end zone throwing the ball down the middle of the field. A lot of bad things can happen down the middle of the field, especially at your own end.
It looked like Byers had lost the ball down around his knees. First down, Bledsoe to Coates. Breaks a tackle. Big man can run. Ben Coates, touchdown. 84 yards. Oh, my.
They both were on the same page. It was a blitz. The Patriots could not pick it up. He adjusted his route.
He adjusted his feet. I'll tell you, he took off that. He got all that weight going forward. His legs had to keep up with it.
Adam Vinatieri acts in from right, and the Patriots lead 28-17. It appeared that Keith Byers might have thrown a key block downfield.
Well, Drew Bledsoe sees the blitz, does an excellent job of getting rid of the football. And look, Keith Byers coming back, making a good block. And Ben Coates showing the speed he has in the tight end position.
For Drew Bledsoe, his longest ever touchdown pass by a bunch, 84 yards to Ben Coates, and a former Dolphin was a key player, the block by Byers, to spring him loose. That breaks Bledsoe's longest by 22 yards. Previous was a 62-yarder to Coates. 3 plays, 98 yards for the Patriots to open the lead. Vinatieri, plenty of time left, midpoint, 4th quarter. Charles Jordan. And he's out across the 30-yard line.
Well, you want the Dolphins to be aggressive on defense. They were this time. They blitz, and they get burned. Ben Coates up top is going to break his route off. Watch the blitzers by Miami. The secondary knows they can't pick it up. They're waiting for the adjustment. They come up too fast. Ben Coates, when he stops, they overrun him. And Keith Byers coming back and making a block to spring Ben Coates for the touchdown.
Now watch, you see Lewis Oliver right there, number 25. He would possibly catch Ben Coates, but Keith Byers, the other tight end, coming back to help his buddy. Touchdown.
That left only Shane Burton, a lineman, to chase Coates. Fumbles. And the Patriots appear to have it again as Willie McGinnis made the sack and the fumble.
The Patriot offense coming out and making big plays has put Miami's offense in a tough situation where they have to pass the football. And now, in these situations, the New England pass rush can come alive and play nothing but pass.
Well, what happens is watch Marino now. He's got Webb on that side, so you've got all the confidence in the world on your backside. He just waited too long and held it. McGinnis never quit, got around Webb, and made the play.
Mark Wheeler recovered the fumble, but it was McGinnis making the play. Curtis Martin wrapped up by Aaron Jones, who played here with the Patriots a couple of years.
I think this is really Marino's fault because Dan Marino was standing back there waiting so long. Webb pushes to the outside, permanently gets in Webb's way. McGinnis never quits, and he comes through. Not only does he knock the ball, almost got the fumble, or he did get the fumble. McGinnis was there.
And Al Groh, the defensive coordinator, tells him this is what you get when you keep hustling. You never know what can happen on any given play. Willie McGinnis, with his hustle, gets around and causes the fumble.
He was picked as a #1 out of Southern California with big biography in college. Now he's starting to produce here. Another interference call against Lewis Oliver, this time against John Burke, the tight end.
What Lewis Oliver is saying right there. Now, he's on Burke's back, but what Oliver is saying, I'm going for the ball, and I tripped up on his feet. But that doesn't make any difference. He hit the man. You can go through the man to the ball if you only hit the ball, but you can't hit the man going through.
Well, that wasn't an incidental tripping, if that's what he's asking
That's
for.
what he was saying. He said, like, you know, that's what Oliver is saying. Lewis Oliver is saying, look, I'm tripping, but he's not. He's on his back, and he's got his arm around him.
Interference call puts the ball at the 11-yard line. No question about this.
That was the same play they threw to Ben Coates for the touchdown early in the game. They came back with it. Lewis Oliver read it right, just a little too anxious.
28-17 New England here. Let's go to New York for an update.
All right, Dick, at Minnesota, Kansas City's Greg Hill. Watch him turn the corner here, and from 17 yards out, goes into the end zone. Then after an interception, he added a 10-yard touchdown. Minnesota started 4-0. They're now looking at their 4th loss in 5 games. They trail 21-0, 3 minutes to play, Dick.
Yeah, that's a big game for Marty Schottenheimer's Chiefs, as Tim Bowens, a big defensive tackle of the Miami Dolphins, injured on that last play. What's at stake here in the AFC East? Miami needing a win to get into the thick of the battle. New England, with a victory today, would then be tied with Buffalo atop the division at 6-3. Indy lost earlier, would fall a game back, and for Miami, it would push them 2 behind the leaders.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, he didn't avoid the issue coming into this week. He says these next 2 games will determine our season. If things continue to go the way they are today, he's going to have to rethink and give his team some hope somehow and tell them, well, we can still get in. We got to win this week, and somewhere down the line try to make up some ground.
Tim Bowens is the guy that's down. And we're going to see what happens to him here. He's right in the middle. He puts his arm in on Curtis Martin, and his own man hits his arm, and that's what he's holding. That's why it was hyperextended elbow. But you know, the thing about it is when you come out in the beginning of the season, Dick, one of the things, your objective, your first objective, we got to win our division. We have to win in our division and win our division. Actually, again, I'll repeat that 4-4, Jimmy Johnson and the Miami Dolphins were in a great position because they had only lost one game in their division, and that was to Indy.
Drew Bledsoe, 2nd down and 9 at the 10-yard line. Drew Bledsoe is just a handful of yards away from his best ever game. Remember that Minnesota game where he threw the ball 70 times a couple of years ago, 45 completions, 426 yards. He has 414 against Miami today. There's the total by quarter. Started and has just progressed through the course of the game.
Number 55 on the defense. Grabbing and twisting the face mask. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's the big penalty, when they grab and twist your head and they don't let go. That's the 15-yard. But here, of course, it's half the distance to the goal line.
Gives the Patriots a 1st and goal at the 5, leading 28-17. When it appeared that Miami, with a 17-14 lead earlier in this second half, had the ball on a turnover, an interception by Wooden at the 28-yard line of the Patriots, and then a controversial fumble that has really turned the game around when the Patriots recovered a questionable fumble.
Fullback a bone. You know, he blocks all the time. He's the guy who stands back there. He clobbers people. Sam Gash, you know, he carries the ball once in a while. He may get it. So why don't we just throw it? And who covers him? Nobody really covers him. He's wide open for the touchdown.
Vinatieri's extra point. 35-17. Drew saying, don't hit me again, Coach.
Yeah,
I know you like it. Don't hit me.
Well, 1st and goal in the 5-yard line, you throw a play-action fake at the defense when you're ahead. It usually is going to be wide open.
Well, he's going to slap somebody.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. The coach is happy. Back in New England, and a reminder that we're running a little late here, and our 7 o'clock programming will begin right after the ball game, including Dateline Sunday. Jane Pauley is going to be talking with Michael Jordan. You'll see the comedies Third Rock from the Sun and Boston Common, and Jim Carrey stars in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Dan Marino's in that as well. Viewers in the West Coast will see that at their regularly scheduled times. 5:47 left. It's miracle time now for Marino and Miami. Spikes. Still on his feet. What an effort. And out to the 35-yard line. What a weekend for fans in Boston to cheer great sports heroes that come to visit. Michael Jordan was here Friday night as the Bulls won, and the great one, Wayne Gretzky, for the Rangers against the Bruins last night, and Dan Marino on Sunday. If you had that trifecta as a fan, those tickets to those games, and I'm sure we could find many here at Foxborough tonight. What a weekend.
Yeah, and if we had room for one more picture, we had Phil Simms here on his birthday.
Yeah, right.
Which would have been just a joy for everyone.
Yeah.
How old are you anyway?
I can't eat another piece of birthday. How many cakes does he get?
I don't know.
Skips away. He's across the line of scrimmage. He throws the pass complete down to the 37-yard line, but no penalty flag. Jordan made the catch. No flag is down. Now flags go down.
Lamar Thomas, number 85.
You know, don't do dumb things. You're just trying to get into a ball game, and he hits Terry Ray, when he's coming up off the ground. There's just no reason for it.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
You bet.
Number 85, Miami 15.
You don't have that look on your face because you did it. Take a look what Lamar Thomas does now. There's Ray. He hits him. All right, now you're down. But he doesn't leave it there. He goes back in and hits him again. And that's when they threw the flag.
Still a first down, even with a 15-yard penalty. Takes it back to the 48.
See, if you're going to hit someone like that, go up and get Willie McGinnis. Hit him. And then he'll throw you into the stadium.
Triple right for Marino. Dumps it off to the left. And a good job by Bernie Parmalee. Tackled by McGinnis inside the 40. Another Miami first down. And Marino racking up some passing yards here in the fourth quarter as he's less than 100 away from 50,000 in his great career. Down the middle. Diving try by McDuffie, but covered by Reynolds. Flag down.
That's where the little holding deal.
Yes, illegal use of hands. Number 69, jam to the head, 10 yards.
Jab to the head, that's Keith Sims. You know, when you looked at Miami in this game, and they came out with Karim Abdul-Jabbar running the ball, and they really had control of what they were doing. You know, and you made the point. Yeah, go ahead. They're going to run the ball for a while. Let them go ahead and run it. But the guy you really had to stop is Marino. And then I really believe that fumble that was not a fumble turned this whole game around in New England's favor, and it's been all downhill for Miami since.
Yeah, we'll take another look at that. Abdul-Jabbar was clearly down after Miami had intercepted a Bledsoe pass deep in New England territory. Underneath, it looked as if Marino's pass was deflected or his arm hit as he went for McDuffie. Marino now is 383 yards away from 50,000.
You can see the blitz by the New England Patriots and Ricky Reynolds, number 21.
And Magruder. They both got a piece of it.
They do a good job. Once they see Dan Marino raise his arms, the defender, go ahead and jump, try to get in his way.
So that's the one thing you try to do to Marino. Most people know you can't sack him. I mean, you can, but it's almost impossible. What you want to do with Marino is make him hurry the ball.
And every coach says the same thing. You got to put pressure up the middle, get in his face. You won't sack him very often. Boy, good patience there. And as Charles Jordan, his receiver, drops the ball. Another update. Back to New York.
Dick, look at the ending in Houston and Seattle. Al Del Greco looking for a game-winning field goal as time runs down. Michael McCreary with the block picks it up. Laterals to Robert Blackman, who goes the remaining 61 yards with just 4 ticks of the clock remaining. The Seattle Seahawks on the verge of a 23-16 win. That is now a final in the Kingdome, Dick.
Some big plays in the final seconds today.
The Seattle Seahawks are definitely the cardiac kids the last few weeks.
Third down and 10. Check that 20 after the penalty. Boy, Marino just does hurry that one away and tackled immediately as McDuffie. So very little yardage at the 46. We want to remind you that coming up on Dateline, Michael Jordan and Mike Ditka on Third Rock from the Sun, and Shelley Long as a guest on Boston Common. And we welcome those of you who have seen Seattle's dramatic victory 23-16 against the Houston Oilers. Miami's Jimmy Johnson led 17-14 earlier in this half. Bill Parcells got a gift call, a fumble that wasn't a fumble. New England stopped a Miami drive, and since that point it's been all Patriots. 35-17. This is a fourth and long for Marino. Scrambling, and down he goes. McGinnis gets him again. What a game for Willie McGinnis.
Persistence pays off. Willie McGinnis sacked Marino in the last series of downs, knocked the ball out, made him fumble, and here he comes again. And when you don't quit and you just keep coming, and it's a little easier when you're up 35-17 to keep coming.
Yeah, a lot easier.
It is.
But what happens is Willie McGinnis up top is just going to keep hustling. Actually, he was down at the bottom of the screen, and it's 4th and 20. And what happens is Miami is trying to get Marino outside the pocket to buy some extra time to throw the ball down the field to pick up the 20 yards.
McGinnis 8 tackles, 2 sacks, forced a fumble. He now has 7 sacks on the year. He leads the Pats. 2 forced fumbles. In his 3rd year from Southern California, he was a big #1 pick, and now in his 3rd season really paying dividends. 4:17 left. From the 43 of Miami. Curtis Martin. Flag down. Martin with a blocker in front. To the 4-yard line. As they stepped out back at the 6. Terrell Buckley got him. Let's see if it counts.
It's offsides against Miami Dolphins.
36-yard run for Curtis Martin. That's more than he gained.
Offside. Number 97 on the defense. Lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties declined. First down.
That's more than his total for the whole game prior to that run. Aaron Jones.
Yeah, you're lined up across the neutral zone. That's where they call it. The funny part about this whole play is at the end of the play, they had to wait on Bledsoe because he stayed, Dick, all the way back here by the 40 because he figured it's got to be against us.
Well, it was the second time today Curtis Martin had broken off a long run. The first time it was called back for holding, so he just assumed it was another offensive penalty.
Bledsoe with over 400 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes gives it to Martin, who has a couple of rushing touchdowns in the first half. Oliver stops him at the 4. Martin now has carried the ball 15 times for 13 yards and 1 time for 36. A couple of touchdowns.
You know, Dick, we talked about it earlier. You look at this New England team and the offense especially. I really don't believe they worry about the running game too much. They have so many weapons. We talked about outside, the tight end. Keith Byers now coming in. Throw the ball, try to make big plays, and every once in a while you give it to Curtis Martin, who is also capable of making big plays.
Patriots on a roll, going for their 6th win in the last 7 games. Martin to the 2. Chris Singleton and others on the tackles. Jimmy Johnson's watery eyes from the winds that have blown through the late afternoon here in New England.
And the Miami defense, I don't know what you tell them. They tried to play it safe, conservative. They gave up touchdowns. And then when they gambled and tried to be aggressive, they blitzed Drew Bledsoe. They gave up big plays for touchdowns.
But again, now remember, if they lose this ball game, which looks like they're going to do, they're down by 18 points, is that this is only 2 losses in their division. They're going to go to 4-5, granted. But still, they've only lost 2 games in their division. But the impossible task is that they really would probably have to win almost all of their games.
And next week becomes an absolute must against Indianapolis. And so it will be for the Colts, who'll come down there after losing to San Diego at home. So it becomes a very key game. There it is now with Buffalo beating Washington. New England apparent winners. Indianapolis lost to San Diego. And the Jets waiting to make somebody's life miserable as we come down the stretch.
And you know, you were absolutely right. You said this earlier, and you've said it before, though, that the Jets are going to be the determining factor of who's going to win the AFC East. They're not going to win it.
But they play a lot of teams that want to.
I got that down. Yeah. I got that part down. Now the question is who's going to win it?
Let's go back to the biggest play of this game. The fumble call that went New England's way. Miami had just intercepted a pass. Well, this is the call at the side of the game. This was insignificant because Martin fumbled. It was ruled a touchdown anyway, and Burke, number 85, would fall on the ball. But the big fumble was the one Abdul-Jabbar of Miami with the lead 17-14. They've just made an interception. And here's that call, and this will be talked about all week long in South Florida, that's for certain. Abdul-Jabbar down, then the ball pops out, and from another angle later you can see Curtis Martin meanwhile gets the hat trick, his 3rd touchdown, and the New England Patriots roll it up 41-17.
Thing that really made that play so bad on the call is that the Miami Dolphins at that point in time were inside the 30-yard line on their way in to score. Now again, you know, they could have scored, could not have, but they were on their way in to score when they took the ball away from them.
4 consecutive touchdowns for New England. Vinatieri just does squeak that one through since Miami led 17-14 and that fumble call was made. Curtis Martin, 3 touchdowns, 42-17. New England, 6 out of 7 for the Pats. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, at Buffalo, what a day running the football the Bills had. This is Derek Holmes, 14 yards, his 3rd touchdown of the day. He rushed for 122. Thurman Thomas for 107. The Bills knock off the NFL's longest winning streak. Redskins had won 7 straight, 38-13. Buffalo at Philly here on NBC next week. Dick?
All right, Greg, and it's New England. We'll go for its continued run as they play at New York, the Jets, next week.
Phil, you know, you said something. You know, you see Drew Bledsoe there threading the ball around, throwing for over 400 yards.
Right.
And you said that New England really, they're not concerned about their running game.
I don't think they are, Paul. The strength of this team is throwing the football, the outside players, the quarterback. Then you sprinkle in a really good running back in Curtis Martin. And again, we've seen it today. They make so many big plays in the passing game. And it kind of goes back to what Bill Parcells said to us, tongue-in-cheek. He goes, I'm the Doug Moe or the Paul Westhead of the NFL. We try to score as fast as we can. We throw in a long jumper, and then we just play a little defense and try to get the ball back again.
That's the nice way of telling your defense they're not doing very well.
That's right.
Spikes takes it out to the 24-yard line. Let's go back to the fumble again. We'll give you another angle on it where you can see that the ground clearly causes the fumble. There's a big pile of humanity, and none of the officials apparently had a clean look at it. There he comes down, the elbow, and then the ball comes out.
And you can clearly see Abdul-Jabbar had the ball in his possessions. He hit the ground. When his arm hit the ground, that's when the fumble occurred.
Well, here's Jimmy. He's going nuts because you can see it on the big scoreboard here. But the thing about it is, when you say the ground can't cause a fumble, if you're being tackled and you're going down, it can't be. If you're in the middle of the field, nobody tackles you, and you hit the ground, it is a fumble, just to clear it up.
Dan Marino will not risk any further injury to that ankle. Craig Erickson takes over with 2.5 to go. He fires down the middle, complete. Scott Miller to the 44. Flag down.
Why not?
So disappointing day for Marino in Miami.
Jam to the face, number 69. 10 yards.
That's his second hands to the face today.
That puts Miami over the 100-yard mark in penalty yards.
Keith Sims, number 69, gets that hand up on the face mask of Chris Slade. Easy for the official to see, easy call.
14th Dolphin penalty, 106 yards. Marino, less than 100 from 50,000. He'll reach that incredible yardage total at home next week against Indianapolis. Fumble. No, he gets it off and completes the Parmalee to the 20-yard line. Almost looked as if that ball was going to be knocked free. 6 yards on the play. McGinnis again harassing the quarterback, and we're at the 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on NBC. 2 minutes left here in Foxborough as we welcome those of you who have seen Kansas City win at Minnesota 21-6 as the Chiefs go 6-3 and the Vikes in a bit of a tailspin 5-4. Dan Marino and Miami were in the lead early in this second half, 17-14, and then it's collapsed on them. They got a bad call, and then New England has taken advantage of every opportunity. Bernie Parmalee running it out to the 32-yard line. Marino watching Craig Erickson here in the final minutes finish up the job as the Patriots lead 42-17. A big passing day for Marino's counterpart in New England. Drew Bledsoe over 400 yards throwing the ball as opposing teams continue to just rip apart Miami's pass defense. Parmalee picks up the first down out at the 45-yard line. Craig Erickson with the pitch.
You know, talking about that Miami defense, Dick, this is the same defense, the same philosophy that won Super Bowls for Jimmy Johnson down in Dallas. And it's really the pass coverage has really not been that bad, but what's really magnifies it is the fact they just get no pass rush at all from their front four.
A gallant effort by Lamar Thomas, who is ruled to have caught the ball and the helmet popped free on contact with the ground. First down. 26 yards, a gutsy play.
I mean, Lamar Thomas, he just went up and takes this ball away. He wants this catch, and here's what happens is now his helmet pops off. You know, there is a timeout here. You see this great catch by Lamar Thomas.
Roy Malloy coming in and
just whacking him. You know, Phil, with like 2 minutes to go in the ball game, you're down by 25 points. You've already lost a couple of guys in this ball game. I'm talking about Miami now. And I know if you did it, you're going to get booed and written up by the newspapers. But I mean, don't lose anybody else. They already took Marino out. Just sit on the ball, get out of here, and don't try to get any. You know, I know you don't do that, but to save your players.
Well, let's talk about Dan Marino. Not an easy day. His own receivers weren't always good to him, and the Patriots certainly were not. Hitchcock with an interception and Willie McGinnis.
And if you hold the ball too long in this league, bad things happen. And boy, did Dan Marino get roughed up on that play.
So Marino in the final minutes of the fourth quarter watches Craig Erickson try to get a cosmetic touchdown for Miami. A minute to go. Erickson to the end zone. Touchdown. O.J. McDuffie. Much too little too late, but 29 yards as Erickson, against the defense willing to give, takes, and Miami at least will cut the deficit.
Well, the nice part about it, we're going to see our favorite play, the onside kick.
Craig Erickson showing some good mobility in the pocket, steps up, and when a quarterback steps up and he gets that extra time like that, it usually enables the receiver to get behind the defense, and it's an easy touchdown for O.J. McDuffie.
That goes back to the play when Hitchcock intercepted Marino, when you said he didn't have a chance to step up and throw the ball that he wanted to throw.
Going to go for two here. Erickson 4 for 4, 74 yards on this drive. Incomplete. Erickson did a good job to give himself a chance to throw the ball as he was pressured. Now 42-23 New England's lead. How about another update? Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dick, one more look at the play that ended the Cowboys-Eagles game. Troy Aikman scrambling throws into the end zone. The Eagles were up 3, and this clinched it. The lateral from James Willis to Troy Vincent, who took it 90 yards to give the Eagles a 31-21 victory, knocking off the Cowboys in Dallas. Remember, Sports Night continues here on NBC. Jane Pauley talks with Michael Jordan on Dateline and Mike Ditka on Third Rock from the Sun. Dick?
Now, Greg, down in the Lone Star State, they'll be talking about that with Dallas in position for a tying field goal only to be intercepted, and Ray Rhodes' Eagles are 7-2.
I'm telling you, Dick, I hope I missed my plane so I can stay over and watch Mike Ditka on Third Rock from the Sun. I'm going to tell you something. This guy is a natural coach, Ditka. Did you see those promos?
Oh, you mean he's not a natural actor?
No, he's a natural coach.
Here's your play, and it's free for a moment. New England had its hands on it, and Miami says they've got it. One of the Patriots came to field the ball quickly, which of course you can do, and could not recover it, and Miami comes out of the pile with it.
Well, Keith Byers, who recovered an onside kick last week at the end of the game, comes up and tries to get the ball before it goes to 10 yards, and it takes the hop just in front of him. Watch him. Number 41, Keith Byers. Well, he actually gets there in time and gets his arms under it, but not able to hold on to it.
Looked like Bernie Parmalee was the man. Yep, he pulled it out of the pile.
Watch Keith Byers. He comes up, does a good job, just not able to hold on to it. And Bernie Parmalee does the old pull it from everybody at the bottom of the pile trick.
You know, the amazing thing about it, you kick an onside kick, Dick, and you get the ball at the 36-yard line. It's not like
it's not like the
40
right.
before, you know.
Get it at midfield.
Yeah, you get it at 36.
So 52 seconds left for Craig Erickson. Incomplete. McDuffie the target. Jim Gray is down on the sidelines.
Dick, one thing about this drive right here is point differential is one of the tiebreakers for the playoffs if it ever could come down to that. They lost the first week. The Patriots did 24-10. So this drive would make it 42-30. And so the Miami Dolphins would win on point differential if they get in the end zone in this last 48 seconds.
There he is. Always always with that old board out, figuring those numbers.
Yeah, that's right.
In case we go down to that, and that is one of the tiebreakers, one of the final tiebreakers. Erickson throws, complete. Obviously down was McDuffie, but the whistle hadn't sounded, so he figured maybe no one saw it. Clock running 33-32 seconds. Erickson has been perfect off the bench. Underneath, Harmley heads to the sidelines. Good little fake and out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 19 seconds left.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Next week we're going down to Miami to watch Miami play the Indianapolis Colts. And, well, what message does Jimmy Johnson give his team, and how will they react to this loss? Because I think they felt good about this matchup. They could come up here like they did a couple weeks ago. They beat Buffalo. I think they thought they could come up here and steal one from the New England Patriots today.
Well, both Jimmy Johnson and Dan Marino, Dick, they both really felt comfortable with this football game. They thought that they had a pretty good chance of winning it.
But they're going to go home losing 5 of the last 6 after that 3-0 start. And New England's the team that's on the roll. Will win 6 of their last 7.
We said in the opening, we talked about it, New England is winning. And you look at this game there, they made some big plays on defense, but Drew Bledsoe is throwing the ball down the field to this talented receiving core, and they are making a lot of big plays.
That's going to be it. They're letting it run out. Drew Bledsoe, a 400-yard game, 3 touchdown passes, 1 a record 84 yards to Ben Coates, 42-23. The Patriots have defeated Miami.